Morning everybody. Well, it is for me anyway. Last night / this morning saw our first frost of the season. Now it was only very light, temperatures got down to just on freezing. If you're a black and white person, we had a frost. If you want to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not very severe, 10 being very severe, then it was a 1 out of 10. So today, what are we going to do? Just going to do a little round the grounds sort of follow up on a few things. So a couple of weeks ago we talked about the Plant Doctor products, and I have actually done my first off-camera trial because I just wanted to put it down and explore it at my own pace without the camera. So it's been a couple of weeks now. You can see in the background, and a few of you have been commenting on other places how well it's starting to really come on. It's really starting to shine, considering it's cooch, considering we're now, less than a month out of winter. I'm pretty impressed, to be quite honest. So we're going to actually do our first on-camera application of that, and we're going to do it fortnightly with the Seaweed Secrets and the Activate Mate products. Then we'll have a little look around at the buffalo grass because it had its winterization feed there a month or so ago. I can't exactly remember when. So I'll take you around there and have a look. It's a bit of a shame that I didn't actually get to film this yesterday because, as I said, today once the sun hits that, you're going to see a little bit of a turn in that buffalo because of the frost. I had a little walk over it earlier, and it's got some areas that just look a little stressed, and that's normal once it gets a little bit of freezing temperatures. Then we'll go around the front and have a look at the cooch lawn, the Sandarana on the front lawn, and we may quickly finish off with a little update on the glyphosate experiment. So look, let's kick off. Let's give this green a mow first. I've got the little Toro Greens Master somewhere here. Where are you? There, ready to roll. So I'll run over this, then we'll hit it with a fertilizer. Wow, how good did that just stripe up? I would have, what's today? Today's Monday the 11th of May, and check out the professional tripod in the background there. I reckon everyone should have one of those. No home should be without a tripod like that one. Anyway, 11th of May, and I mowed this on Thursday afternoon. I'm surprised how much we got off that actually. Let's have a look in the catcher here. Let's see, get the sunlight into it. See, there's a few little grains of fertilizer, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Just like green dust. It's amazing. Seriously guys, if you are in a position to get your hands on one of these mowers, just do it. Seriously, the cut is just phenomenal. It's a pleasure to use. Absolutely delight. Oh look, a free plug. Look at that. Supporting the opposition. I mean, me mate. Ben, you're a legend. Greens Master for the win. We've had our first frost, and that's a trigger sign that it's definitely now too late to be using granular fertilizers. It's that window is now shut. As I've said in the past, before I started filming, I used to just walk away from this green and come back to it in spring. I just left it be. There was no point doing anything with it. Now I've come along and started to do this circus of a channel. I'm going to keep it pumping along. So What we're going to do, fortnightly applications of the seaweed secrets. That's the one. Seaweed Secrets Activate Mate from the Plant Doctor. So I'll attach a website below, and I'll attach a discount code there below, Brenton10. If you want any of that sort of stuff, or even if you want to follow along at home, this could be a good idea. If you guys wanted if you're that way inclined, you want to keep your lawn ticking over through the winter, the seaweed solution, the Seaweed Secrets, is basically just going to help the plant vigor. It's more of a tonic. It's not actually a fertilizer as such. It's a health tonic, like what would you say? Maybe a bit like a vitamin tablet that you might take for yourself. It just keeps things healthy and ticking along. And the Activate Mate, similar sort of a thing, but with a mild liquid fertilizer in the mix. So you can still spoon feed liquid fertilizer. If your grass has gone dormant brown, then I think the show's over, but providing it's still a little bit of colour and you're getting a little bit off each mow, so why not? If you want to play along at home, as they say, this is one of those things that I recommend you could do, as opposed to spraying your lawn with glyphosate that you probably shouldn't do. Anyway, let's have a little look at things up close. I sprayed this. This has had a hit of PGR a couple of weeks ago, and that was my last application for the season, just to slow it up. I was getting a little bit of stalky growth. It was still powering on too quick for my liking, and I also have hit it with an application of Monument for those few broadleaf weeds, and they're starting to curl their toes up now too. So I'll show you those broadleaf weeds, and then we'll look at this seaweed products from Plant Doctor. Right, and this is what happens with Monument. It doesn't give you massive visual results up front, and as I said, it's probably a couple of weeks ago that I applied this now, and we're only now just starting to see results. And it just it'll turn yellow, the plant will turn up, but it won't. There's other broadleaf products out there that you apply it and you come back in, a couple of hours and you can see the plant wilting, you can see everything happening, and you think, beauty, I've got it. This stuff doesn't work like that. This stuff's really sort of makes you think it hasn't worked, and then before you know it, it has worked and it's done its job. So by the time you see visual effects, it's well and truly doing its thing. When we just have a look across here, even that little bare patch, that's really closed up now, really closing up. Again, pretty remarkable for this time of year. That's probably now, this bit here is probably about a square foot, just to give you some size perspective. So but as we come across, it's just looking tight. It really is looking tight for this time of year, and I'm really happy with it. Really, really happy with it. These couple of lines here, because I've got contours in this green, and I put those in deliberately just for a bit of putting character. The mower does sort of dip in a little bit on the sides, and that becomes more noticeable when the grass hasn't been treated with a PGR, because you're getting a bit more stalky growth, and especially through here, there's a real, probably doesn't show through in the camera, but through that drain there, it really does, certain angles that you mow, really does dive in. It does look a bit shit at times, to be honest with you. So, yeah. Righto. I just want to really quickly touch on the surrounds. As I said, part of that Plant Doctor delivery had some fertilizer, some Champion, Lawn and Fairway fertilizer. And at the time, I said to you guys, look, I think that prill size is going to be too large to go on the green, but I think it'll be perfect for the surround. So, as I said a couple of weeks ago, I cracked the bag open and spread it out on the surround. So I've used the heavier rate, which is 4 kilos per 100 square metres. A couple little observations with it. I liked the NPK ratio for this time of year. Slow release. It's going to give a gentle feed for the next, I think it's at up to 3 months. So that'll suit me just fine. So that's going to be into sort of, end of July. So come August, I'm starting to sort of prepare to do August, September renovation kind of thing. So that'll carry me through winter perfectly. So keep that in your memory bank. If you're looking for a slow release sort of fertilizer, it's probably one to put into your list of considerations, and it's actually fairly well priced. So that's a plus. Something that's not ultra fantastic, but it's only probably an issue if you're cutting short. So as I said to you at the time, keep that fertilizer for lawns above 10 millimeters. It can stay on the leaf a little bit longer than most. So I'm going to suspect that that's probably just the slow release component of it. Okay, so most of it obviously washes in, but you just get 1 or 2 granules that just sort of stay around. As I said, it's no biggie. It's just something to be aware of. It doesn't sort of change my opinion on the product. It's I just want to make you aware of it, so full disclosure. Okay, so I'm going to apply all 3 products at once. You might remember in a video before I said, just stick to these 2 and do this one separately. So anyway, Plant Doctor pointed out that you can actually add all 3 into the mix because this stuff here works on the leaf. You wash it off the leaf into the soil. It actually then starts to work on the top of the soil as well. So I'm going to just put all 3 in the mix, and that application of, or that irrigation cycle after that can be as little as 12 litres of water or so in your backpack sprayer. So it's just enough just to wet it off the leaf, flush it down to the top of that soil. So all right, let's roll with that. Let's just go with that guidance and see what results we get. And we'll apply this on the green with the backpack sprayer today. There's other ways we can apply this stuff. You can do a hose on if you want to go down that road. So down the track we might try that as well and see if we get any noticeable differences in the results. So. Righto, so I'll come back tomorrow morning and just give that a rinse off the leaf and let it run into the top of the soil. And all right, let's go on with the show. Let's have a look at this buffalo. We'll go around after that. We'll go around the front and look at the cooch and the glyphosate project. Buffalo update. Buffalo Sapphire variety, St. Augustine, depending on where you're from, whatever floats your boat. These shady areas. Now, I was talking about that 1 out of 10 frost this morning. The areas that actually got sun straight away will not get affected, not from that little bit we had. The areas in the shade here, the bluer areas in here is where that frost sat around for a lot longer than it did anywhere else, and they're the bits that are going to be most noticeable. Interestingly enough, I looked at the calendar. I keep on my rain gauge chart, I keep rainfall, which obviously I record in the pen. I record frost with a light blue texture and hot days over 40 with a highlighter, with a red highlighter, and then it gives me a good idea. Interestingly enough, the frost that we got today, we had one 12 months ago tomorrow. So we had one on the 12th of May last year, today being the 11th, and then we didn't see another frost till into June. So I'm hoping that trend continues, but right on schedule, just a day early. But as you can see, still looking good. This here, this shade, this is why I have the buffalo where I do. That area there will get no sun till springtime, and that shade line will continue out, and that's it. So cooch was not an option. Buffalo to the rescue. So we look in the shady areas, and you can see the bits. Actually, that bit there, that moisture would have been frost earlier, and you can sort of see how that bit's blue, the other bits aren't. So it was a really light frost. They're going to be the bits that we're going to see in a week's time that are going to look a bit discoloured. But yeah, she's looking sweet. It's set up perfectly well for this onset of winter. It's as good as you could ask for it to be. So still nice and thick, but as much as it's nice and dense, we've got none of that mat. Just goes, it's all upright. We've got no runners running over the top of each other. It's just upright pieces, upright grass. Focus is an issue, isn't it? Upright bits of grass doing their thing. So that's where we're at with the buffalo. And we'll come back to it. I'm saying something's had a little wee there. We'll come back to this after a few frosts, and we'll see how much colour it's going to lose. But that's our buffalo update since the fertiliser. Growth has slowed down. Only mowed it twice since I fed it, but that doesn't concern me a great deal because it's the colour's what I'm chasing at the moment, and the health of the turf, and tick both those boxes. Righto, so it's still kicking on quite nicely. It'll slow right down now after that tiny little frost this morning. But yeah, no, we're in a good situation leading into winter. Again, the application of monument herbicide has started to take hold. So your broadleafs are starting to turn their toes up. Haven't seen any more signs of that suspected kikuyu. And the pan up towards the back there is where we had the nutgrass. So all in all, things are in fairly fine shape here at the front. Colour's okay. Give it a hit of iron about a week ago. So yeah, there's not much more I can do now with this one. As I said, our little plant doctor trial will continue at the back, and we'll just leave this one fend for itself as a contrast, because this will be the first winter I've also seen this as a couch lawn, because traditionally it's been a winter rye one. Yes. And last but not least, well, let's just check quickly on what's happening in the land of glyphosate experiment. So I can see that there is some patches of green pushing back through, so we'll get up and see if that's couch or what's exactly going on. And I did actually notice a bit of paspalum pushing through on a corner, but that would have been because of the chemical probably didn't quite get that bit of paspalum just quite right. Okay, so all paspalum here, except this little tiny little sneaky bit here. Kikuyu has definitely gone. But over here, come back into our little couch patch, and although it's not healthy, it's not going to die. In fact, down here, it's starting to push back through quite well. Wow, what a contrast, look at that. Concludes another episode here on the Aussie Lawn. Like and subscribe to the channel. If you're new, welcome. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you here next time on the Aussie Lawn.